Now at 10, why utility rates in Carthage are up. Plus, the Joplin City Council holds a work session to discuss a potential new look for the city's branding. And a SWAT team responds to a report of an armed man at the Joplin Webb City Industrial Park.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Utility customers in Carthage are paying more because of a higher than standard rate increase. This is KOAM News at 10. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with the general manager of the Carthage Water and Electric Plant about the reason for the rate spike.
This summer, the Carthage Water and Electric Plant raised their rates 3.7%, which is a bit higher than the typical annual rate increase that usually falls between 1 and 3%. Chuck Bryant, general manager of the Carthage Water and Electric Plant, says they had to adjust after some big changes at the Carthage Butterball facility.
From what I understand, they are planning to and have made adjustments in their production schedule and are moving a lot of their major utility usage production to a location in Arkansas, and Carthage will be a manufacturing and packaging facility for them. So it's just a little bit different usage of their utilities, which was for us results in about a $2.3 million reduction in revenue.
The 2021 increase boils down to a $6 increase on the average residential utility bill. William Fisher is a retired Carthage resident, and while he is not thrilled with the increase in the cost of living, he says he's lived in Carthage a long time and that the Carthage Water and Electric Plant runs an honest business.
Like it? No. But understanding it, yes. My wife and I do that. We knew it was going to happen. The power plant's always been very good to most any Carthage resident, and I'm sure that we'd all say we missed the dollars out of our pocketbook, but most of us just have accepted it as is.
In Carthage, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Butterball responded to our request for information about the changes at their Carthage plant. They say, quote, "While we can't validate the impact our previously announced operational changes could have on the Carthage Water and Electric Plant, and while those changes have yet to take place, we continue to reinvest in the Carthage facility to improve efficiency and manufacturing processes." City of Joplin is rebranding, and it all starts with a brand new logo. Tonight at a work session, City Council viewed a presentation of designs of the logo and provided input. These are versions of the potential logo. There are several variations that would be used across different departments and advertising spaces, but they all feature a common theme, a star in the middle, which officials say represents the horizon, progress, and history.
The more professional we hold ourselves, I think the better we're going to be kind of in delivering our services to our citizenry. So I'm excited with a clean, professional appearance for our citizenry and for the rest of the world. I think it's going to make Joplin a better place.
The new designs are not final. They'll be brought up again in a future council meeting and put to a vote. Brings us to today's KOAM News Now Instapoll. We want to know, how do you feel about the proposed branding? You can vote on a scale of love it to hate it, somewhere in between if you like. We opened this poll at 6, and right now it's heading a little bit toward the negative. We are going to have the final numbers on this a little bit later. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also vote through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live. We'll check in on the numbers at the end of this newscast. Right now we're checking in with Nick Kelly for a first look at the weather.
As we kept things pretty quiet this evening, Dow, kind of the overall theme for the entire day for that matter, with plenty of dry air and mostly sunny skies throughout the day. We saw temperatures take quite a jump from 63 this morning at Joplin Regional to about 94 degrees for an afternoon high. Those are numbers, at least a high today, still running above normal, but we kept things nice and quiet, nice and dry, at least on the radar network. Not a lot to track this evening, but off to the north and west, we have our next couple of fronts on the way in. That is going to make things a bit interesting as we head toward tomorrow night. In the meantime, though, we're quiet right now. Most of us mid to upper 70s, and I think we'll drop off into the upper 60s to maybe as warm as 71 degrees as we go throughout the rest of the night. I think for much of the day, we're going to keep things mainly on the quiet side, but as the next front approaches, maybe a late storm in the afternoon, I'm going to hold off on the better rain chances until tomorrow night with highs near 90 down. We'll break down what these rain chances could do and how much they could leave behind here in a bit.
All right, catch you then. Joplin police and the SWAT team respond to an armed person at the Joplin Webb City Industrial Park. Around 8:30 this morning, JPD received a call of an armed person at a former Eagle Pitcher facility at 3220 Industrial Drive. Officials say when they arrived, they found a man with a gun pointed to his head. The SWAT team and a crisis team were called in to help de-escalate the situation. Authorities say after 4 hours, the standoff ended with the man shooting himself. Now authorities are working to determine what led to the situation. Authorities say the man never fired at officers, and officers did not fire at him. He was taken to a local hospital with what they call life-threatening injuries. Authorities have not released his name. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office says a man broke into a Pittsburgh home and tried to get the resident to shoot him. Happened just before midnight. The Sheriff's Office says a man arrived with a knife, broke into a house on East 530th Avenue and yelled for the resident to shoot him. The resident did not shoot him. He kept him at gunpoint until the suspect escaped from the house. When deputies arrived, they found the suspect on the porch with a knife. The Sheriff's Department says the suspect ignored verbal commands to put down the knife and was tased, but apparently with little effect. The suspect ran back into the home, later came out of the kitchen without a knife, but with a self-inflicted cut to the neck. He was taken to the hospital, where authorities say he left against medical advice. The suspect was arrested again, this time booked into the Crawford County Jail, where he is awaiting official charges. 2 men are dead following a 2-vehicle crash in Mayes County, Oklahoma. A pickup and a car collided on Highway 82 south of Locust Grove. 2 people in the car died at the scene. They were the driver, 27-year-old Christopher Crossley of Mounds, Oklahoma, and a passenger, 29-year-old Caleb Bagley of Tulsa. The man and woman in the truck were both hospitalized in stable condition. Students at Pitt State's Kels College of Business had an opportunity for some important networking. Representatives of companies across the region were available in a career fair-style event.
It's tough. It's tough to put yourself out there and to walk up to that employer and make that introduction. But we go into the classrooms as career services and share the knowledge that we have and try to make students feel comfortable with who they are and just getting out there and putting out what they know.
The career fair was inside PSU's Overman Student Center. The U.S. Secretary of State testifies before a House committee on the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. That's ahead. Also, the recall election of California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom brings President Biden to the state for some last-minute campaigning.
If your air conditioner isn't working, financing available. Call Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric today.
Nearly 2 weeks after the U.S. completed its military mission in Afghanistan, our nation's top diplomat, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, testified before the House Foreign Affairs Committee. 13 U.S. service members lost their lives in the final days of the drawdown. Secretary Blinken says the State Department has been in touch with about 100 Americans who still want to leave Afghanistan. The recall election of California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is bringing President Biden to the state for some last-minute campaigning. The election is tomorrow. Nichelle Medina reports from Lakewood, California.
President Biden is on his first trip to the West Coast since taking office. One of the day's main focuses, besides drawing attention to the damage wrought by wildfires, is to campaign alongside California Governor Gavin Newsom on the eve of the gubernatorial recall election.
I think he's doing great for the environment. I think he's doing great for California. I think he's passionate and genuine.
He was voted in by a majority, but we're hoping to get him out by a majority also.
The recall election centers around the governor's response to the coronavirus.
I cannot reinforce the consequences of this recall to set back California and take us off the same COVID cliff that you've seen in places like Texas and Florida and Mississippi and elsewhere.
The only other governor recall election in California was 18 years ago when Democrat Gray Davis lost to Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger. Polls show Newsom gaining ground in recent weeks to keep his job. Early voting started 9 days ago at polling places like this one in Lakewood. All registered voters were supposed to have been mailed ballots last month. That could have triggered more Democrats to vote. Former President Trump has called the election rigged, writing in a statement issued Monday, millions and millions of mail-in ballots will make this just another giant election scam. Larry! Polls show conservative radio talk show host Larry Elder leads the 46 candidates trying to replace Newsom.
Many of the people that are passing rules and regulations in Sacramento have never so much as even run a hot dog stand.
This is the fourth recall election of a governor in U.S. history. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, Lakewood, California.
The deadline for those mail-in ballots to be received is 1 week from tomorrow. Later, McDonald County softball is on a 5-game winning tear. Coming up in sports, we're going to find out if they can keep the streak alive against NEOSHO.
Before we do, though, we'll break down our latest forecast, which will include rain chances on the way around tomorrow night. Latest up next.
Lost River Treatment Center.
Home Store.
We kept things pretty quiet throughout the course of the day, but it's going to be certainly interesting as we go into tomorrow night with our next storm system on the way in. But it did not get here today, so we just kept things pretty quiet once again, not only over Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, but all across the entire region. And with dry air still in place, enough of it at least, we saw another big jump in temperatures. After we hit the lower 90s yesterday, we dropped back lower to middle 60s this morning and pushing to 93, in fact 94 degrees, the official number at dropping regional for today. But ever since we got past sunset, we kept the skies quiet over 7th and range. London temperatures have been on the downward swing. 77 to Joplin, a south breeze at 8, trying to bring a little more humidity in here, but it's still not very humid outside, certainly compared to where we've been over the past several days. But with the dew point of 67, it does feel like 79 degrees outside. But again, hardly humid compared to where we've been for the past several days. Most of us in the mid to upper 70s right now, but a couple areas around Stockton Lake, you can see them dropping back into the lower 70s already. We had a big jump in temperatures, not just because of the dry air, because of a good south wind throughout the day as well, but we backed off on that breeze, 5 to 10 miles per hour. But we'll see that pick up a little bit of steam overnight, 5 to 15, maybe a couple gusts near 20. But even though the breeze might pick up overnight, we'll keep things quiet here on the radar network and all across the entire 4-state region with the satellite and radar view coming into play as well. With that said, though, at the surface, we have our next frontal system, not just the stationary front, but the trailing cold front as well. Both of these will merge as a cold front and start heading our way as we go into tomorrow, partially because of the jet stream setup. Before the weekend got going, we had a pretty good upper ridge in place to keep us quiet and dry, but the ridge has split into 2 separate upper level highs, and that split is finally allowing the jet stream to sink to the south. And that will only allow that front to start heading our way as we go through tomorrow. But as long as the brunt of the system still to the north and west for the overnight, we'll keep things quiet. And temperatures generally, the future track has the right idea on things. I'm thinking upper 60s to about 71 degrees to start your Tuesday out. Then as we go into the afternoon, you can see here's 3:30. Most of us in the upper 80s to near 90, but can't rule out maybe a random storm or two as that front decides to start pushing in. 71 in the morning, 85 by noon, highs topping out around 90. Now, there may be a random thunderstorm or two by this time tomorrow afternoon, but I still think our better shot for the thunderstorms that will come our way, here's 6 o'clock in the evening, and watch how they really develop on top of us and sink south slowly through the overnight into Wednesday morning. Some of these could be strong, with maybe some minor wind gusts and some really small hail, but really this is a rainfall maker for us, taking us into Wednesday morning. But the system will dry things out as we go into Wednesday afternoon. So this will be a good chance to give us some much needed rainfall. And if the rain chances play out like the future track is suggesting, some of us could see as little as 1/10 of an inch to maybe an inch, over an inch, maybe 1.5 inches before the rain chances clear out as we go into Wednesday afternoon. Behind the system as well, we'll take advantage of a nice dip in temperatures too. 90 tomorrow, 85 Wednesday, 88 on Thursday. And even though we're dry for the coming weekend, Dow, that upper ridge wants to build back in, so we'll have to send highs back into the 90s by then.
Well, it is still summer after all.
But a nice little dip in temperatures, we'll take it for sure.
You bet. Thanks, Nick. Tropical storm Nicholas has been upgraded to a hurricane now, and it's arrived along the Gulf Coast of Texas. Jason Allen reports from Surfside Beach, Texas.
The outer bands of Nicholas whipped through the coastal city of Galveston, but it's not the winds that have emergency officials worried. It's the rain.
It will be a very slow-moving storm across the state of Texas that will linger for several days and will drop a tremendous amount of rainwater.
A widespread area of Texas is bracing for 6 to 12 inches of rain, and some places could see up to 1.5 feet. Nicholas is also bringing gusts of wind topping 65 miles per hour. As locals stocked up on food and gas, many seem ready to hunker down but not overly concerned.
I live behind the seawall, so I think we'll be fine.
We're all in much better shape.
Homes right along the beachfront don't appear to be boarded up for this storm. Most of the businesses we saw in town are not either. Even though these winds are howling, people here told us their biggest concern is still flooding.
The surge of seawater along the coast and flooding in general could be life-threatening. States of emergency have been declared along the Texas and Louisiana coasts. The storm is expected to make landfall in the same area of Texas hit hard by Hurricane Harvey 4 years ago. It will then move into Louisiana just 2 weeks after Hurricane Ida hit.
The right side, or typically the side where most of the rain falls, will be in Louisiana.
Officials are warning drivers to stay off the road if there's even a hint of flooding and reminding residents about the devastation brought by the remnants of Hurricane Ida in the Northeast, when more than 50 people lost their lives. Jason Allen, CBS News, Surfside Beach, Texas.
Nicholas is the 14th named storm of the season. That's a number not typically hit until mid-November. Coming up in sports, we're going to take a look back on the Chiefs' comeback victory yesterday, and the 6-1 McDonald County softball team travels to NEOSHO today. Those highlights next.
Miami, Oklahoma.
The McDonald County Mustangs are 6-1 on the season. The Mustangs have won their last 5 in a row and have given up just 2 runs in those 5 games. Today, McDonald County is on the road facing the Neosho Wildcats. Quick start for the Mustangs. Reagan Myrick sends this one over the fence. 2-run home run. McDonald County takes an early lead. Next inning, Grace Johnson with the bunt. The throw to first is high, a costly error for the Mustangs, and Neosho capitalizes. They score 2 runs, tie game now. This time it's the Wildcats with an error. Myrick here again, gets it out to right. A run scores. Myrick going to third, throw is off. She takes off for home and makes it safe. Mustangs back in front. Neosho not able to come back this time. McDonald County wins 7-3 for their 6th straight victory. The Missouri Southern Lions get back to work this week following a 21-17 loss to Northeastern State. After a scoreless first quarter, it seemed the Lions found their rhythm. Kayvon Reed had an interception that led to a touchdown here by Jeremy Brown. And Nathan Glades added a 29-yard rushing TD, but the Riverhawks scored right before half and again in the fourth quarter, and the Lions had no response. Head coach Atiba Bradley talks about the need for his team to eliminate mistakes.
I've said it multiple times, but our team has heard it. We're not good enough to give away yards. We're not good enough to put ourselves in bad positions and dig ourselves out of it yet. And so you couple that with teams that will really hurt you, man, it makes it really tough.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas suffered from a similar outcome on Saturday at home, hosting the Nebraska Kearney Lopers. The Gorillas took a 10-point lead into half, but UNK scored 21 straight to take down a freshly ranked PSU team 28-17. The Gorillas, though, plan to learn from the mistakes and move on to the next game.
We can really learn a lot of valuable lessons about ourselves. We can learn about our football team. Our leadership has to step up. And if we'll do that and we learn that valuable lesson, we can become a really good football team throughout the course of the year.
We can't let it happen again, never twice. Just now we know it's kind of a little reality check. We're kind of coming off of sort of a big win and kind of, I don't know, maybe got a little cocky and got what we had coming, but now it's time to just rally.
The Kansas City Chiefs hosted the Cleveland Browns for their home opener on Sunday, a rematch from the division playoff last year, and it proved to be a good early season test. The Chiefs trailed nearly the entire game before coming back from a 12-point hole to take their first lead of the game with just 7 minutes left. Patrick Mahomes threw for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns and rushed for another. He made the big plays when needed, including connecting with Tyreek Hill for a 25-yard touchdown, a play he says helped change the momentum.
I think we just have a lot of belief in this team. We've been in those situations before, and we think that we can win no matter what the situation is. And then getting that play to Tyreek kind of got the crowd back into it. And when you're at Arrowhead and that crowd's rolling, it gets the defense going, and it kind of translates to the offense. And so I'm just glad that we found a way to win against a really good football team.
We're back right after this.
Kramer's Meats, 55 years of...
We take some time now to honor a local veteran. Corporal Charles Osborne served in the U.S. Marine Corps. His hometown, Thayer, Kansas, and we are proud to salute Corporal Charles Osborne. He's tonight's four-state hero. We told you earlier the Joplin City Council tonight is hosting a work session to discuss potentially adopting these logos here as the city's official logos. And in today's KUIM News Now Insta poll, we've been asking, how do you feel about the proposed branding? Well, it was a scale, and this is where it ends up. It's fine, somewhere in the middle there. This poll is now closed. Thank you for participating. The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo in Colorado Springs has revealed the name of its brand new baby hippo. The staff voted to name the new arrival Omo. It's the name of a river in Africa, following the theme of the names of Omo's mothers, Zambezi and Aunt Kasai. Omo is now 200 pounds at 9 weeks old. The zookeeper set up an extra special breakfast of carrots, oranges, and hay for Zambezi in the shape of her calf's new name.
That's a big baby.
Yes. 200 pounds and growing. Bouncing baby hippo.
Yeah.
The weather is staying pretty warm for a little while.
Yeah, we're going to go back into the upper 80s to near 90 tomorrow. Much of the day is dry, maybe a random storm in the afternoon with our next front, but the better rain chances will hold off until tomorrow night and through Wednesday morning.
Final sports news.
McDonald County softball team on a roll, 6th straight win today, including the win over NEOSHO.
It's impressive. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.
Salon service is provided by the